Hello and welcome to Jets Chaos. We are up to quarterback number 4 out of our top 10, the fourth quarterback that we would want to see the Jets get. That means there's only 3 quarterbacks we'd rather see them get. So that's pretty big.
Yeah, we would take this guy. I would take some of those other ones on that list that we've already done as well, because I don't know if we're going to get these 4. I think there's going to be a lot of competition for him.
I think there's going to be competition. We know there's going to be competition, but some of those teams have better draft picks and are going to be looking to the draft. And some of them have even a tighter cap space situation than we do. So there are some advantages, and it'll obviously be helped out if we hire an offensive coordinator, so there's some stability there. But the situation in New York, I think, is not that bad. When you look at the roster, you look at the young players, the excitement in the team, I still think that a quarterback thinking, if I go there, I can complete that piece of the puzzle.
No, I know we had some quarterbacks that we said we want that would take draft choices to get and big money and big commitment. I guess that's my biggest fear. I'm just saying. My biggest fear is that we gut the team. We can't afford any free agents. We don't have draft choices. And then we bring someone on the team long term and they bust.
Yeah,
and that would be like Wilson, like Russell Wilson in Denver. I mean, that ends your team for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two of the teams I think right now in the NFL that are in absolute horrendous places and positions, and these were 2 teams that just a year ago had very high hopes, and those hopes have been smashed, are Arizona and Denver. Both those teams are done until through 2026, even to 27. There's a hit for getting rid of their quarterbacks. They are stuck in horrendously bad contracts right now. It's really putting those franchises in a bad place. I don't want to be them.
I don't want to be them. That's my biggest fear here, buddy boy. And as we go to quarterback number 4, I think the reason this quarterback may be available is because the team that kind of has him might be worried about the same thing, positioning himself long term with someone who's good but not good enough. And I'm a little bit afraid that we would be putting ourselves in the same position. So I'm very nervous about it. But yes, at least we would have a quarterback who's good, reasonable, can play the game, doesn't have the yips.
Absolutely the opposite. Yeah, he's pretty opposite of the yips. This guy is
baller.
Not afraid.
He's a baller.
Yeah, he's a baller. He's not afraid of getting hit. He's not afraid of staying in the pocket. If you haven't figured it out, we're talking about Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
And by the way, he knows how to play in MetLife Stadium.
He does. He does. Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about Daniel Jones, I agree. I don't know how much he's going to cost. He's one of the more interesting players. The thing that might make it hard to obtain his services is it only takes one team to be willing to roll the dice. So even if it's not the Giants, someone might roll the dice and give him one of those kind of lock you in for a minimum of 4 years and pay him serious enough money to scare us away. Because while Daniel Jones had his best year and did look like a good quarterback, the 3 years before that was not nearly as impressive. And you have to worry, if he's not in that system without that coach, is he going to regress back to what he was the first few years for the Giants?
Yeah, the question is, Jeremy, I'll put it right out to you. Do you think he's going for under 25 million? Do you think he's going for over 35 million? Where are you in the cost?
I think it also depends on contract length. I think if he's going to get a 4-year deal where 3.5 of those years are guaranteed, I think probably around 30 to 35. I want to say 30. I don't want to go too high because it's hard to imagine putting him in that upper echelon, especially if you have to pay him, guaranteed money for a longer term deal. So he might be, and I could be totally off on this, but I'm thinking he's a $30 million quarterback if you want to lock him in and, commit a minimum of 3 years to him.
And do you want to do that? We are saying yes. We are saying that that's our 4th best preferred thing, even after the stinker He just played in the playoffs. We are saying we're willing to give him $120 million over 4 years to be a Jet. He would certainly be an upgrade from where we are, but could he take us to the Super Bowl?
I don't know. That's the problem. It's rolling the dice. It's a very risky, dicey situation. I mean, he's clearly much, much better than any quarterback we've had in a really long time. But he's not one of those guys that you say when he puts on the uniform is, one of the best we've ever had in the building. He clearly is. Nobody's going to say he's better I don't think, than Chad Pennington or Vinny Testaverde during those prime years, or Ken O'Brien. So he's not the answer to, oh, finally we have a superstar quarterback. Oh, we don't think. There's no guarantee he's going to continue that path of growth. But again, who's our offensive coordinator? What's our system? And is he going to be the right fit for that system?
So we can get him without draft choices. So that's a big deal.
Yes.
It's just going to cost cash, but it's going to cost cash that we will not be able to use to pay other players for years. And frankly, this makes me super nervous. But at the same time, I need to see a quarterback in the pocket that can throw the ball. Because let's face it, if he's on the Jets in 2022, we win at least 2, if not 3 or 4 of the games that we lost. And we're a strong playoff team.
Yeah, he certainly would have gotten us in the playoffs. I think the question with Daniel Jones really comes down to, is he willing, or is another team? I think someone's going to come along. I think even the Giants, what they're going to try to do is pay him a heavy short-term contract, meaning overpay him for the right to only have to guarantee 2 years. But if you want him to sign, you expect him to sign any deal that's going to not guarantee more than 2 years, you're going to have to pay through the nose and overpay him. So you might be looking at like 36 to 40 million a year for 2 years guaranteed, but then you get out of it if he doesn't pan out.
And that might be a strategy that the Jets do that we will have to live with. But as I said, I don't think there's many better than him for us to go for. Get all things being equal, maybe 3 others, which we're about to take a look at, numbers 1, 2, and 3. But I wouldn't prefer him to 4 through 12.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, there's not a lot of great quarterback options out there. That's the problem with not drafting and developing your own star quarterback. When you have to go out and get a good proven quarterback, it's going to be expensive. That means a lot of money. That means draft picks. And it's good. And if it's not draft picks, it's going to be even more money because it'll be more competitive with other teams. So, I mean, that's just the reality that we're in because Zach Wilson hasn't panned out.
And just to make it clear, and I think most people understand this, but it's not that the ownership is cheap. They would pay anything to get a top quarterback. It has nothing to do with being willing to sign the check. The problem is that the way football works is it goes against your salary cap. And that determines what other players you can have on your team. So no one can just write a check in this league. It is what makes football great. It's what allows teams to turn around. It's what keeps teams from being like the Yankees or now the Mets, where they just buy everybody. You have to figure out mathematically how to balance your checkbook because everybody gets the same checkbook.
It's kind of like buying into a Texas Hold'em tournament. You can't, it's not like a rich person can come onto the table and just push everybody around by over betting and forcing them out of hands. Everybody gets the same amount of chips. Everybody's equal. And the slight advantage is that when you have a richer owner, you could pay bigger bonuses up front and manipulate the cap a little bit more. But people, I think, kind of overstate that. At the end of the day, eventually, every dollar you pay has to be recognized against the salary cap at some point.
And as a fan in baseball, I can just say, write the check, because I'm not paying the luxury tax. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to win. In football, if you just want to win, you have to understand this balance.
Yeah. Opportunity cost.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys like this video, then hit the like button.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe by hitting my brother's bald head over there.
And you could watch the other videos that talk about the other guys. If you haven't seen it, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 are all up. They're all ready to go. You can hit the little playlist and you can get to it right now. And most importantly, definitely subscribe to the channel if you like the content and you want to see more.
And most important, in my opinion,
go Jets!